up, everybody? Welcome to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. I'm Jason Bound from Hard Money Bankers. This is Ian Horowitz from Equity Warehouse. Today, we're talking about a topic that I personally love talking about. Ian personally loves talking about. So you're probably going to see some passion here from both of us related to building sales funnels for your real estate investing business. Coincidentally, I have a ClickFunnels shirt on today.
Yeah, only because it matches your hat, huh?
Yeah, I mean, typically that's how I try to coordinate.
There you go.
But this is a fun topic, and although I wouldn't say that I use the term sales funnels until Russell Brunson kind of brought that to my attention, I've always felt like I've been involved, ever since we started Hard Money Bankers 15 years ago, and even buying real estate before that, kind of involved in the sales funnel process related to finding deals, finding leads, nurturing them, emailing them, and in essence, turning them into clients. So yeah, we are going to break down all of that stuff today. And full disclosure, we're going to try to do it more kind of on the advanced side, the less technical side. We can, maybe break down and do some screen shares on some of this stuff, but we're not going to try to keep this just 101. I'd like to talk a little bit more higher level stuff, because I think a lot of folks know it's like, yeah, of course I need, a converting lead magnet in a sales funnel and generating business and leads and stuff like that. But I think we should dive into some of the higher level stuff that I've done, you guys have done, in order to really, really nurture leads and turn them into opportunities and clients and seller leads, buyer leads, raising capital leads. This works if you're a title company, if you're a real estate agent, no matter what, right?
Yeah, well, and the reason I want to talk about it is to actually get through this thing so I can work again through one of the issues I'm having and trying to understand it. Because we always talk about funnels, and it's like, yeah, it sounds so easy on paper, and then you got to go execute it. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, it's a lot of work. But, I was having a conversation today with one of our marketing companies regarding, like, hey, we're chasing some occupancy statistics on some of our storage properties, and it came up of like, what's the sales process? What's the marketing funnel to get people in the front door? It's related in every part and every facet of our business, whether you're trying to get loans, you're raising capital, you're trying to find deals, you're trying to bring customers into your storage facility or your apartment building, whatever it may be. A funnel is applicable in every single situation of a real estate business or a business as whole. And it's taken me probably, when was the first ClickFunnels we went to? Probably 5-6 years ago that I went with you guys. And it's just like the sexy e-com stuff. I was like, oh my God, that's so sexy. I'm going to go build an e-com business or sell stuff online. And then I'm like, holy shit, that's really hard. But what I started to realize is how we can apply it into our own business every single day.
Yeah, exactly. And let's break down this on a high level first, and then we can kind of talk about kind of individual funnels, maybe for individual types of business. If you're currently watching the World Cup, hey, welcome you to keep the World Cup going on one screen. Listen to our podcast or watch our podcast live on YouTube or wherever you're watching it. And then if you're listening to this at a later date on iTunes, welcome. If you got value from it, appreciate it if you could share, comment, like, all those good things. Certainly appreciate us to help us grow the show. So on a high level, a sales funnel is just like any other kind of, let's call it mechanism to generate leads that will eventually turn into clients. So think about it like any type of funnel, right? Like a funnel starts big and it gets narrowed down. Let's just talk about seller leads, because we used to run sales funnels when we were buying more real estate years back before our lending company. And the way it would be set up is we would do advertising, right? You could, what are ways you could advertise? You could, you could go door knocking, you could do bandit signs, you could do direct mail, you could do stuff on websites and Google AdWords, you can do stuff, on TV, things like that. The goal is to hit the masses, right? And get them into your universe, which means, cool, have them, fill out a web form, make a phone call, reach out to you some capacity that you can collect their information. Typically, the information that's the best is an email address, maybe a phone number. That's even better. And after you have that, you can nurture them through, text messaging and emailing, and phone calls and voice broadcasts and things like that, in essence, to get them all the way down until they eventually turn into a lead and buy your product. So let's talk about home buying and home buying leads real quick. So let's say, somebody's interested in selling their home, distressed house, something, whatever, doesn't matter. There's 1,000 different variations, but they want to sell their house quick, and they don't want to go through a real estate agent or traditional sources like this. You do some advertisements in order for them to opt in to a website. Opt in on your website, let's call it, in order to get some information to sell their house, how they can sell it quickly, how they can sell it in 30 days or less. You get their email address, you fulfill that with them, you send them your white paper, your free book, your video showing them how they can sell the property quickly, and then you're sending them emails and nurture emails kind of on a regular basis of like, hey, did you get my free book? These are some tips. If you're looking to sell, by the way, reach out to me. And you're as time goes by, you're dripping them emails, you're dripping them content, you're sending them valuable stuff on a regular basis in order for them to pick up the phone, eventually give you a call, and potentially, you go out there, you go on an appointment and do so. That's like 101 stuff, right? Like very, 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 very basic, stuff that you can do in order that's a little bit more advanced. And 1% of the people aren't really doing a lot of this stuff, even though they should be on some of these is, when you're out there blanketing the area to try to get people's info, to try to get leads in general or interested parties, not only do you want their email address, you want their phone number. Because what happens if you have their phone number? You can send them a text message. You can do like some sort of sly broadcast, robo-dialer if you want. You can have somebody inside your office call them directly and try to book an appointment to them. If you have enough information, you could go on social media and do direct messages and work that lead that way. Now, keep in mind, if they've raised their hand and if they're interested in what you have to offer, they've given you permission for the most part to communicate with them. And they've given you permission saying, I'm interested. I want you to communicate with me to help me solve my problem.
So where do you think that line of spam to no spam is, right? I think that's something that we need to discuss, because the same way we're steward of people's capitals when we're doing deals is the same way you need to be a steward of someone's information. Because I talk to you a lot about I'm really bad at email campaign follow-up. I've been trying to do a better job of following up, doing a weekly email. I don't have the largest email database in the world. However, I've been trying to once a week go out there, type up an email, and send it out. And it's really, 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 really freaking tough for me. But then I'm like, man, I'm just spamming these people, just talking shit to talk shit. And then it's like, I don't know. I mean, Ethan, you guys do
if you're providing value, you're not spamming.
Right. I mean, that's a good way to look at it, because you guys do a great job every week, every few days of sending out what I believe to be valuable information. And I guess that's just a barrier that I need to break down, and I don't know how you guys got through that.
I believe it's a high-level task to do direct, email broadcasts. Your whole email database controls your business. The bigger email database of qualified people, obviously. In my lending business, my database is real estate investors. If you're buying properties, your real estate database is, or your database is real estate agents, homeowners, past clients, referral sources, things like that. When we had a property management company, our database was twofold. Individual real estate investors that wanted to lease properties through our company, as well as individual folks that came to our website that we wanted to be residents in certain geographic areas, right? So, if you're a title company, your email database needs to be real estate agents, mortgage brokers, lenders, things like that, right? It's the same thing. If you're raising capital from private capital investors, your database needs to be, private capital investors or folks that that might be interested in investing in deals with you and supplying capital to you. And again, your email database is always going to be small, but you got to begin with. But the goal is it's not just sales funnel doesn't necessarily always have to happen online. It can happen offline as well. You go to a meetup group the goal of a meetup group is to meet as many people as you can, meet up, right? Meet as many people as you can, get their business cards, and put them into your database. Your database can be emailing them out, calling them out, text messaging them out. And related to the fine line of spam, as long as you're providing value to them, right? And not just spamming them like what's in it for you, it's what's in it for them, right? Typically, a lot of the outbound email broadcasts we do is providing value of like, hey, check out this video that we talked about, this real estate investor and how they just flipped a house in 30 days or whatever it is, or how this person was able to, buy this property or accomplish this or accomplish that. Like, if you're marketing to home sellers, it's, hey, let me show you 7 tips that you could sell your property by yourself without using a real estate agent, or if that's something like that, or ways to stop foreclosure, whatever it is. I mean, you're the you listening or watching this should be the expert at that, right? So whatever your business model is, that works. If you're a title company, and I don't know why I keep going back to title company, but I guess it's fresh in my head. If you're a title company, just because a lot of title companies don't market great. A lot of people in general just don't market great, right? Like, it's, hey, you could do a video on how title insurance is calculated, or what your closing costs are for transfer and recordation tax, because nobody knows that stuff, right? Those are ways to provide value. So you provide value, and then potentially, if you want, you have an ask, right?
What about like a low value business? And that's almost hard to say, right? Because if you follow like Russell or any one of the high level marketers, let's say your customer acquisition is as much as you can humanly possibly pay and make $1. So if someone rents a storage unit for me for $100, I could effectively pay $100 and then get the upsells of insurance and future revenue.
Yeah.
What would you do for like a funnel for someone that is dealing in the tenant space? Like, I think this is where people have a hard problem, like relating to the power of funnels, of like how it works for tenant acquisition. Everybody wants to talk about high level stuff, raising capital, finding deals, finding new lead gen sources. But like when you really look at it, sometimes your tenants are the most important. What would you set up a tenant?
I mean,
like
we talking about a $70 a month storage facility, or are you talking about
an apartment unit?
Huh?
An apartment. Let's go apartments.
I mean, I think just like anything else, I mean, you can get creative on it. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be an ask. It's providing value. Like, for instance, like homeowner workshops, right? Figure out a way to do an ad to get like a free homeowner workshop. Hey, that's virtual, right? So it's like, hey, sign up and I'll give you this video on how you can, you could own your own home, right? So you go through, and I'm just, ad-libbing this, but you go through the process. Of like, hey, this is how you own your own home. If you can get your credit score to this price, to this, if you have this down payment, you could qualify for home. If you don't, follow these steps, and within the next year, you could be a homeowner. And between now and then, you can rent one of our apartments or something like that. Like, you do community outreach. Again, these aren't I think everybody thinks that it's just spending money online and generating business that way. I think a lot of funnels are done offline. They're done in your local communities. And if you don't have a big budget to do that, I mean, a lot of the marketing that we do is not necessarily paid marketing. I mean, we spend a good bit of money on marketing, but like a lot of lead flow, and especially early on back in the day, a lot of it was that. Think about creating events or doing outreach, or going to an area where, I don't know, other tenants are, potentially putting flyers out, blanketing an area or community there. I mean, doing, you open a new apartment building in an area and you have a party, right? So it's like, hey, we have whatever. I mean, listen, a sales funnel can also be something like, hey, move-in specials. That can be a sales funnel, right? Like move-in specials where, free rent for a year, or I don't know, maybe you're not going to do that, but free rent for 3 months, right? And all of a sudden, let's use your White House, your White House property as that 76 unit, right? You go within like whatever, a mile radius, right? You blanket the area with, move-in specials or live here for free for 3 months, right? And you blanket the crap out of that area, right? You have potentially, people there. You do flyers, you do a party, you do whatever. It's like, hey, fill out this information, whatever. Fill in your information, and here, and we'll reach out to see if you qualify to come in, for this, so whatever it is, right? Like you have to get their information, then you have their information, and then you in essence, you do giveaways, however you want to do it, right? There's endless ways.
Right.
There's endless ways to do it. And it's not just online. I mean, online's my opinion with online compared to offline is offline typically is cheaper, but a lot more labor intensive. Online is a little bit less labor intensive, but it costs a lot more money. So depending on where you're at inside your business, it's going to, you do it that way. I mean, listen, if someone wants to go spend blow through $10,000 on Google AdWords a month to do so, you can do that, but chances are your business isn't going to back that out. Like, I think there's a lot better free ways to do that. And here's the thing: if you you don't have any more openings for that promotion at White House Square, at White House, I keep saying White House Square, White House, but you have 10 other rental properties that they might qualify for. When we had that property management company, we had a lot of different ways and portals for new tenants to come in. And after buildings or properties were filled, we just tried to divert them into the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So anytime we had like a new property available, we would blast that out to the list. And there was kind of like fear of missing out. It's like, hey, our buildings are nice. Our properties, go quickly. Get in now before, time is up or something like that. You put
right.
Stuff.
Yeah, get this one-time special, and I think that's where a lot of people miss it, is that your online marketing turns into offline funnels, and your offline marketing turns into online funnels, and there's this gateway between the two. And I think a lot of people miss it, because when you hear Russell Brunson, Hormozi, Dan Henry, Trey Lowell, and all these guys start talking about funnels, everybody just assumes it has to be in the e-com space and it has to remain online. Like, here's a prime example of a marketing funnel for ourselves to attract capital. We have some sort of front door, like a white paper to self-storage that says, hey, this is the hottest asset class. I give it out when this is how to navigate the hottest asset class inside of real estate, self-storage. Then I go speak at an event. I hand that white paper out with a QR code. It also says Equity Warehouse everywhere through it. People go home, they throw it on their desk. And they say, man, I really love to invest in storage. I really love to invest in real estate. And this book or this white paper just sits on your desk over and over and over again. And it just sits there. And one day they say, you know what are these guys from Equity Warehouse all about? I really like what they talked about. So they go to equitywarehouse.com. My homepage is not some, this, about us and all of our projects and everything else. It's, hey, learn how you can co-invest with Equity Warehouse and invest in commercial real estate assets. And they go through there, they plug their email in, and it's like, hey, here's a case study on how, after I capture their information, how we co-invested in a 76-unit apartment building. And from there, then it's just a whole bunch of relationship information about other people who have invested with us, testimonials, other case studies on other projects to show people that we're the experts. And now I have them in my database. Then when we go to have, they can schedule a call with me to take them back offline to find out that we're both real people, or they can remain online. And then the next time we have a deal, we shoot out an email and says, hey guys, it's not often that we have this opportunity, but we have a few spots left in our upcoming offer. Our premium investors already had a first look at this. We do have a few spots available. They're going to fill up really fast. If you have interest, I suggest you go check it out now. And boom, they have the opportunity to invest, and you close it down. You got to have the wherewithal and the ability to be able to shut it down and not just accept anything that comes through the front door and create the fear of missing out and create the frenzy around what you are doing. And that's how you can go from offline to online, back to offline, back to online, and then back offline again. These things are interchangeable. And I think a lot of people miss that when they're doing this.
Well, I think when you were talking about some of those bigger name gurus, like ideally, like their sales funnels will back out day one. You know, they're called like self-liquidating offers. So it's like, hey, if I spend $10,000, I'm going to get $10,000 out right away. I've never had a lot of success with this at all, but also all my businesses are offline businesses and they're tailored towards real estate. But I don't care, because if I, generate business today, if I get somebody who's the right person today, a real estate investor or a home seller or tenant, whatever it is, eventually, not all of them, but eventually there's a likelihood that that person will buy from me, as long as I provide, good value to them and trustworthy and credibility and stuff like that along the way. People quit marketing because they think they'll just, I'm going to go spend $5,000 in Google AdWords. I'm going to do a $10,000 mail drop. I'm going to run TV for a month. Go ask these big players that do tons and tons of business on a high level. They're nurturing these leads forever, for long periods of time. So I'm doing loans for people that have been in my email database for over 10 years, right? That I didn't do anything for. It wasn't the right time. Just because you generate a lead today, like a seller lead, it's pretty easy to generate seller leads in general, but keep in mind, obviously you want to close them immediately because they might be motivated right now, but their motivation might change, right? They realize it's like, well, you know what? I thought I was going to relocate, but now I'm not. That doesn't mean that you don't keep them in an email data. You just throw away the lead, but that also doesn't mean that you need to call them and be proactive with them ever again either. If you put them into your email database or whatever system you have in place, you can automatically follow up with them on a regular basis. Now, when I say automatically, that doesn't mean it just does it on your behalf. I mean, like, you need to get in the habit of creating value to your community and to your clients on a regular basis and supplying them real value, either whatever, white papers, blogs, videos, whatever your community, wants. And they do videos like we're doing right now, like podcasts. If you're watching this or listening to this, you're the expert in whatever your niche is inside real estate investing or real estate as a whole. So whatever that is, if you're a real estate agent, how do I sell properties for top dollar? You got to be creative in order to do so. I mean, the sales funnel is just a communication platform in order to stay in front of these folks. But you got to be creative to come up with content to provide value. And the good news is, so many people this day and age are doing content, are doing value. So that's not a bad thing because there's more competition. It's a good thing because you can get creative and figure out what's working and what other ideas people are doing to do so. Back in the day, pre-iPhone, obviously there was email and stuff like that, but like pre-texting and things like that, like it was more direct mail, offline stuff, and that's great. But with the online offline blend, there's so much more you can be doing. And also, one thing to note, like, you can email somebody pretty much every day and it's not that invasive, right? It's just not. You can't text somebody every day. You can't call somebody on the phone every day. You can't potentially do a direct message to somebody on a social platform every day, but you can email them every day if you have enough value to do so. People, if you're providing them value, they're not going to unsubscribe from you because they look at you as an expert and they want your opinion on things. Because they're not the expert, chances are you are the expert on them. If you're spamming them, using the term like you said, Ian, like spamming them crap all the time, you might unsubscribe. Like, I unsubscribe from people all the time because originally I was provided value by them, so I kept them. But then if they stop providing value, then you don't need them around. So, there's
I'm just navigating. I'm navigating my email database. And I sent an email out yesterday. What is today? Tuesday. I sent an email out yesterday at 8:30 in the morning ish. Whenever I got done typing it up, I'm still having. I got about 24% open rate, which is pretty damn good.
That's good.
I just had an email opened up at 12:59 today. Right, like, it lives in people's stuff, and they might not look at it immediately, but sometimes they'll. By the way, I got a funny story here in a second. They might still look at your information later on, right? It lives in their inbox. And, sometimes when people are bored taking a shit, they're scrolling their inbox like, oh, what's Ian got to say today? What's Jason got to say today? And just read it. And they stay in tune with what you're doing. And over time, you're breaking down that barrier of what the issue is to them not investing with you, to them not buying a deal from you, to not using your loan product, whatever it may be. They see enough information from you, eventually they're going to say, man, them guys got their shit together. They're going to do it, right? It helps to always execute on deals. And I think that's where some of our issues are. It's hard for me to get online and celebrate our wins. We've had a massive growth over the past 2 years, and I've never once come out and boast about it. Like, we just kind of nonchalantly talk about it. I should do a better job, and this is why I want to talk about this out loud in front of everybody. We should do a better job when we refinance a property, purchase a property, execute something in our property. We do a good job of telling our investors. We need to do a better job of telling other people, just to say, hey, got this done, want to let you know. And I think some of that issues is our humbleness from our previous jobs. But people do want to hear. People are watching. People are in tune to what you're doing. They want to be a part of a winning team, whether you're a vendor, a service provider, a partner, whatever it is. They want to be with winners. And I've said it a lot. I don't know where I stole the quote from, but A players want to be with A players and B players want to be with C players. It's
Imagine if you're a real estate investor and you're trying to buy distressed properties and you're reaching out to homeowners and they're calling you abandoned signs and you're collecting an email database and whatever. You don't have a ton, but you have whatever. Few hundred people in a few different neighborhoods plus some real estate agents. And guess what? You bought one of the properties and then you flipped it or whatever the case is, right? You wholesaled, whatever the case is. Imagine sending an email out to that whole database and be like, hey, we just bought this property at so-and-so for $82,000 and we fully renovated. They don't need to know what the economics are of everything, but we bought this property for $72,000 because it needed a lot of work. And guess what? We just renovated the heck out of this house. Look at the after pictures. You don't think a homeowner is interested in that? I mean, think about homeowners in general. It doesn't matter what price point they're in. When like realtors send open house things and stuff like that, they're nosy. They want to see what's going on. They want to know what their houses are worth. They want to see everybody wants to see what the inside looks like of every neighbor's house. Hey, what did they do here? How's the floor plan? What does this look like? You have that ability to do that if you're an active real estate investor in a certain neighborhood, and that's how you can become, the king or queen of that particular neighborhood. And a lot of the big home buyers that I know over the years, and this is even pre-lending when we were buying stuff years, in mid 2000s, was they would buy multiple properties in those neighborhoods. And whenever someone needed to sell, they were like, I'm going to call this person because I love my neighborhood and I, want the right people in here. And this person, did a great job on my neighbor's house. Same thing with construction, with contractor leads. People want to do business with people not only that they like and trust, but like localized people. Part of my sales script that I've always had in a lot of different operations has been like, we're local. Like, I'm local, you're local. Like, people want to do business with that setup. And this is kind of getting away a little bit from the sales funnel on the technical side, but like it's all stuff to put into the mix in your email copy, in your videos, in your any collateral related to your sales funnel. I mean, if you don't have a sales funnel, like, you can't really run a business. I hate to tell you, it doesn't matter. Like, you're going down. You were talking earlier about filling up a storage facility or a storage unit or facility or a store or apartment building. It's the same thing. You have to have a sales process to do so. And if you want to continue to do it and a lot cheaper than you're doing it now, like, I don't know what you guys do with your resident applications, but guess what? Like, if you have another apartment building opening up soon nearby, you shouldn't have any problem leasing it up because you have the database of people. Because guess what? Just because they leased from somewhere else doesn't mean that they're unhappy, that they're happy in their current situation. Right?
Yeah.
They might lease from you again, or their friend might be looking for a place. You always have to look at things as you might not be selling to this particular person, but they might know somebody that does. We market to everybody with a purpose that we don't necessarily want their direct business, but they know other people that may want to do business with us.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful stuff, because if you're not marketing, you're not in business. It's real simple. I was talking about switching up potentially one of our marketing companies for some of our storage stuff, and we got talking about like, yo, dude, like I want to lay in right now, right? Like I want to fill, I want to spend money. Everybody else is going to start tightening budgets. First place most people tighten their budgets is marketing dollars. And not to go too far off topic, because I only got a few more minutes left, I want to stay on the topic of a sales funnel. I think we talked about how it worked well, and we're always trying to be transparent on this show, exactly what's going on inside of our show and just being real. Those of you that are in my email database, I said literally the other day is that like I've been reinvigorated to create the passive investing mastermind.com group, because it's a great place for everyone to aggregate as a whole, be a part of a group. There's a lot of things that are going on there. The problem is every time I want to talk to Jason about it, we're always trying to figure out how to monetize it or build a funnel to get people in the front door, and then it becomes this whole convoluted mess, and then we never fucking do it, right? Like I never do it because I'm like, man, that is a lot of freaking work. All I want to do is have a place to aggregate people in one location that are like-minded people that want to invest in real estate. That's it. That's all I want to do. And it's hard because it's like our natural entrepreneur brains make it harder than it is, when in the end, all we got to do is go on this podcast, say, hey guys, we got passiveinvestingmastermind.com, and see where it goes. Keep it simple. Sometimes keeping it simple is the easiest thing. It was a pain in the ass to build our homepage with the case studies, but now that it's built, it's easy to tweak them. So we've been doing a lot of back and forth on that and just seeing where it's go. We also talk a lot about having the meetup groups, right? Because they were always great front doors for all the funnels that both of us have, because it's established credibility. It establishes dominance in the marketplace. We're bringing value to everybody that wants to learn about real estate. And when COVID hit, it was kind of a blessing in the sky, right, wrong, or indifferent. But, the meetups are a lot of hard work to have consistent, great content on a monthly basis. But then once people come through, it's easy to keep going. Sure, it's hard to be unique every time, but people just want to come out and they want to be in a group of like-minded people. And with that being said, man, yeah, like we're trying to build that out. So you might see some information from me on that side of things. I know Jason's been working on some of his stuff over on the other side, but if you guys are getting good value out of this and like you're looking for something to do, or you have a funnel idea, you can always reach out to us and talk to us about it. We're not the greatest, but there's great people that execute these. Jason's way better than I am. I understand the concepts of it. I'm just not good at executing it. And I'm always looking for someone that can go out there and help me build a funnel to do these, because I see the power in them, and I see the power of aggregating the data. I see the power of helping other people, and really just getting this to grow, not only the email list, but passiveinvestingmastermind.com, and growing this thing as a whole is powerful for everybody that's involved. And I think that's what everyone needs to remember when they're building out funnels. What are you doing it for? What's your purpose behind it? Back into it. Don't make it super convoluted and crazy. Like our homepage email or funnel of the case studies, I don't even have autoresponders set up to spam you with, right? Like it's real simple. Hey, come learn about us. And if you want to invest with us, you'll find us. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to give you follow-up emails. I know I should do it, but I'm just not going to do it because it's too much work for me. And once it becomes work, most entrepreneurs are going to say, you know what, that's too much. I'm out. And when I have a team in place later, I'll deal with it. And that's it.
Yeah. Let's end with a quick, action steps of what to do next, but like you said, you got to keep this thing simple, because if you get too anxious about some of this stuff, it'll start stressing you out and you'll never do any of it. So you keep it simple. And I mean, listen, some of my funnels for my lending company have been going on for 15 years, right? Like if I rebuild something from scratch, it's, I do it completely different. Let's just say, someone doesn't have anything at all and they want to start something in place. Like, let's go through step 1 through 5 before we end with that. And you'd be surprised. Some of this stuff is actually easier than you think. And again, it's baby steps. Like step 1 is go into your drawer and get all the business cards of everybody that you know inside the business, and open up a MailChimp account or an Aweber account or a Infusionsoft account or a ClickFunnels account or anything, and put them into one database. Very, very, very simple, right? And again, this depends on if you're looking for home buyers or home sellers or title leads or raising capital, whatever it is. Put them into a database. If you're a real estate agent, whatever it is, put them into a database and make a commitment to send out one email a week with value to your client. If you're doing an Instagram video or a Facebook video or a blog post or whatever you're doing, Facebook Live, that can be the video. If that video is good enough to kind of promote our case study or a recently closed deal or whatever it is, a flip that you just did, be on a habit on a consistent basis. So step one is aggregate all the data that you already have. If you have an email database, great. If you haven't, grab every business card that you met at a meetup group and put it into an email database, right? Like you can kind of take the sales funnel and, start at a different level, right? Put it, start with that. Make a commitment to send them an email once a month or once a week. Sorry, once a week. Keep it simple. And after that's in place, then, figure out what you want to do to get new people in. Most real estate investors that are doing any type of business are talking to multiple people a week. So as you're talking to multiple people a week, put them into the database, put them in the database consistently, build out some sort of opt-in. If you want, Ian, we can share this real quick. That's an opt-in that Ian uses in order to co-invest and raise capital from other investors, not from other investors, and to invest in his deals. Sorry. You want to share this real quick, Ian?
Yeah, people can see it. Ian, right? Okay, so sorry, real quick. Let's just go back to the beginning. This is a few iterations, right? Like it started off with exactly what Jason said, aggregating your email database. The next thing was, okay, well, now that I got an email database, I want to just direct people rather than collect a whole pile of these, right? Like I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want all these, right?
Crash. Why do you even have this?
I don't know. I can't throw stuff out. It's always fun to keep them around. But it's it's coming back, toss them in the drawer. Come back, toss them in the drawer. Right? So we got everyone in this email database. Then it's like, well, now I just want to direct people. Okay, hey, just go to equitywarehouse.com. You can find out everything about us, right? Like it's just a very quick, easy page. And it just takes you to our case study. And then from there, access the free case study. Oh, hey, I want to learn how to co-invest with these guys. What does this whole thing mean? And boom, here you are. Now you get a case study on our 76-unit apartment building. There's a 30-minute video. There's the information about it. There's other case studies below the line if people want to see it, right? And then I'm trying to get everybody to say, man, that was really cool. You know what? What's an investor survey? Cool. Then the next step is to take them to an investor survey, and I kind of give them a little motivation speech, and they put the information in here. And then from there, it takes them to a page that allows them to schedule a call with me. It's simple. It took a lot of work. A lot of iterations, a lot of time, a lot of just figuring out how to make this thing look right. You know what? Now that it's done, it makes sense to me, and it's easy, and it's a great place to direct people to come in and say, hey, just go visit equitywarehouse.com. They look at it. I can't tell you how many vendors I've had say, hey, man, like before we did our call, I was taking the time to check out your website, and that's really cool. That's a great idea. I love your website. It really explains who you are, and people get a feel from our website on exactly who we are, right? Like, oh shit, Dan and Ian, they used to be firemen, right? Like, there's some stuff that I need to change in here. There's some case studies, right? Like, I can always improve this, but you know what? It's up, it's running, and people know exactly where to find us and how to find out exactly what we're doing and keep it simple, stupid. I can't say enough.
Well, then you build onto it. That's the point. You got to start with something. So, like, put those emails in a database, start emailing them consistently, and then put this up. And you're not spending any money to advertise this. This is just like word of mouth and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
It's different. It's different. Word of mouth, different place. So it doesn't cost any money to do so. And then, if you want more advanced steps on some of this stuff, it's pretty simple, right? Like, cool. What's the next level? Like you said, do email nurture sequences. So not only doing emails weekly, but also when someone fills out that form, you send them emails, right? Like,
yep.
Hey, you could do some promotional stuff, paid ads on Google AdWords if you want, on Facebook if you want. You can go speak at meetup groups if you want. There's other ways. There's other ways to do that, to drive and fuel it and pour gasoline on it as well. And if you want, you can do other things besides just emailing them. You can do text messages. I mean, when someone goes to my website and fills out a loan application, they get a text message from us, right? Like, we're constantly doing text messages. We're doing, voice broadcasts, right? So like Ian could what I know he doesn't do, but what he could do on the next deal that he's raising capital for, he can do a Sly broadcast. And in essence, there's services where you can bypass people's, the phone ringing and go right to their voicemail and say, "Hey, it's Eden Equity Warehouse. Hope you're well. I know you've showed interest in co-investing with us on some of our deals in the past. Well, good news. We actually have an available deal right now. We're looking to raise $1 million. Just FYI, there's a good amount of interest in it already. It'll probably close up in the next 48 hours. So I encourage you to reach out to me as soon as possible if this is an investment you're interested in. By the way, go to this link if you want to get the pro forma and whatever offer memorandum." So that's easy. That is easy to do.
Yep, 100%. So, I mean, we carried a lot of viewers and listeners through this whole podcast. So obviously it's a topic that we should continue to expand on in the future, and have more conversations on, because I think too many people miss this topic and the value in it. I know we skip over it sometimes. Like, oh, yeah, everyone knows how to do a funnel, but it obviously truly is important. And this is the importance. I'll tell you what, the guy that I got to hop off and jump on a call with is, I found one of his partners through their podcast, ultimately putting me into their funnel, ending up in their email database, to the point where I finally reached out and contacted them. So their marketing funnel worked. I got sucked in by the podcast. I then decided I needed to follow his information. I gave him my email address, right? Email addresses are currency. I gave him my email address. I then got spammed by him, not spammed by him, but I got a bunch of emails from him. And then finally something hit for me. I was like, all right, dude, I'm calling you. And then I called him, and then I had a meeting, and then he put me in touch with the guy that I'm about to jump on the call with. Ultimately, we're going to have on the podcast at some point. So it's a win-win, and it goes all around. And this is the importance of branding yourself. And you know what?
Dude, think about every time you're scrolling through a reel on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, right? And you're stuck in that, and then you fall, and then you're on YouTube. You're in their funnel without you even realizing you're in their funnel. You might not have provided an email address or contact information or anything at that point, but eventually when the time's right from you, you will. So that's the goal is, and as long as, you are the expert, and, you can Google what the definition of an expert is, right? Because chances are you are an expert. If you're an expert, it's your obligation to provide value to the folks that need your help.
Yep. I don't know what I did here. Shit.
Instagram. What are you looking at?
On Instagram.com/_equity. There we go. Sorry, I hit the wrong button to clear those out. Right? You got all these reels here. I got my website address up here. I don't have a ton of followers, but look at the viewership compared to my followers, right? Again, this is credibility. This is people coming here and go, man, Ian's got some good shit to say. He knows a lot of cool people on here. This guy over here talks a bunch of dumb shit, and I like it. Oh, how does Ian know him? Let me go check out equitywarehouse.com, right? That's the power of doing the reels. That's the power of doing the podcast. It's the power of having a funnel behind you. And it doesn't always have to be you. You don't have to do this. You can do simple quotes, right? Real simple quotes. It's nothing crazy. I mean, our assistant, Rowena, absolutely kills it. And it's relatively inexpensive to what we would pay here in the U.S. And she does it, and she grinds it out, and she is so badass at what she does, to the point now that Jason's using her and a few other people are using her, and she's succeeding now, and we're getting better market data by doing these reels. It is so good. I mean, she's just started doing some more posting stuff for some of our storage businesses and our apartment buildings, right? We're going to start doing these on every single place, so it builds credibility for every single vertical that we have. So and again, I know you're going to watch this because you cut up all of our podcasts. I love you. You're the best. Thank you.
No, but point being is there's a lot of different, hopefully this was a good overview for everybody to kind of dig in. And, if you didn't take anything from this besides one thing, just keep it basic, start simple and work your way up. It's just like anything else. It takes a lifetime to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and change. You're not going to be Gary Vee over, at once. And again,
the ego wants you to be Gary Vee, but you're not going to be Gary Vee.
And you don't need to be. And again, that's just one side of it. Those are all front doors to try to get contact information. Think about this, because so many people I talk to on a regular basis be like, yeah, I know so many people. I talk to everybody, but I don't have a database. That's a pain in the ass asking people for email addresses or put it in their business cards. Well, imagine if you have an offline store and it costs, you spend a lot of money to generate people into your offline store. Think about when you go into a store, right? and you heard a radio ad and they're having a sale, right? And you walk into a store, and then you leave that store. Well, you're gone forever, right? They didn't capture your information. If you didn't buy anything from that store, they didn't capture from anything. The goal is to lead down your potential leads to a website or to a social profile or to something, and capture their information so you have them. They showed interest. They came to your website. They came to your store. They walked into your office, whatever that case is. They've called you on the phone. Make sure you are doing right by them by providing them value of what you're the expert on a regular basis. And when the time comes, they will reach out to you to buy your product, to buy your service, to buy, to rent your property, whatever the case is. This is like non-negotiable. This is the way that business is run. And, this setup isn't like within the last few years, it's forever. And technology makes it easier for everybody to accomplish this. It makes it cheaper for us to all accomplish this.
Yep.
But it's got to be done, and just keep expanding and making it bigger, and better as you grow.
Who knew we could talk about funnels for 46 minutes? But that's how important it is. Everybody enjoy their Thanksgiving. Watch the World Cup. Go USA. They got a little challenge ahead of them on Friday. But with that being said, if you guys got any good information, you feel like other people need to hear what was talked about in this show today, and every business owner needs to hear what was talked about in this show today, please feel free to share it. If not, the best compliment you could give us is a review on Apple Podcasts, because it helps us. And ultimately, by trending better, it allows us to get better guests in the door, because we're looking for the best guests possible and talk about real issues with business. So if you guys got any value, please feel free to share it. As you can see, we're super humble about it, and this kills us to say, but we're just trying to do the best we possibly can. So feel free to share it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. Do us a favor and like, comment, and share our broadcast. It helps the algorithm and helps us spread the word too. Till next time,